G'day folks, welcome to this unboxing of the second edition printing of Mark Herman's Empire of the Sun, the Pacific War 1941-1945, published by GMT Games. Now this was first published back in 2005. It's seen many printings and editions over the years. This is the most recent. It retains that classic Roger McGowan cover art, quite an iconic cover. It's one of my favourite box covers. I should note, I used to own an early copy of this back in 2008, 2009, and it's one of the games that I really failed to grasp back then when I was first kind of getting into gaming. And I've kind of regretted getting rid of it. And so I P500 this, and it's just arrived the other day. You will notice the quite sturdy 3-inch depth box. It's quite a heavy box. GMT really enhanced the quality and the sturdiness of their boxes in recent years. The back cover, you will note in particular the high solitaire suitability. Now this is a card-driven game, and card-driven games generally don't have a good solitaire suitability. However, this reprint, you'll see here, features version 2 of the card-driven solitaire system, the CDSS, allowing you to play either side against an artificial opponent, and that's why the solitaire suitability is so high. It's a rating of 7, complexity. Let's crack it open and have a look. You'll note one 22 by 34 inch mounted map, one 11 by 17 inch unmounted mini-map, player aid, 2 identical CRTs, Japanese setup card, Allied setup card, 2 Erasmus bot trifolds, a rules booklet, a solitaire rules booklet, and 2 decks of cards. Of course, the Erasmus bot is probably another reason for that high solitaire suitability. I forgot to mention that as well. So, game designed by Mark Herman. Let's can art by Mark Simonich, Dave Lawrence, Roger McGowan. I should note as well, I've been reading about Mark Simonich's suggestions for the game as well. There are quite a few variations on gameplay, so you might want to check out Board Game Geek for some examples of that. Cracking open, we see a fully revised version of the rulebook, version 3.2. This is colour, 56 pages long, so it's really increased in size over the years. If I flip back through to and ensure I have focus there. You can see really nice colour. Some illustrated examples there throughout, more illustrated examples, and a fairly standard GMT rulebook type of structure. There's the rulebook. And here we have the card-driven solitaire system, CDSS, version 2.1. So I probably won't be using this initially. I'll be playing two-handed, fully two-handed, to get a handle on gameplay before I decide to dive into that system. Then we have that mini-map showing the Coral Sea, top of Australia, Queensland up here, New Guinea, Solomon Islands through here. We have 2 copies of the CRT. The Allied at start and reinforcement schedule card. The Japanese at start units and reinforcement schedule. Another large player aid card showing sequence of play, offensive, strategy cards, summary of unit affiliations, political will, national surrender information, and then details on reinforcements, replacements, supply lines, and aircraft zone of influence. Here we have the Erasmus bot information. We have the Allied Erasmus bot, sort of a flow chart for actions. This is quite large, 3 A4 size, double-sided, so six A4 pages, and again for the Japanese. 6 A4 pages for that. We then get to the counter sheets, and there are 1.5 counter sheets. You can see ground forces, army groups, corps, divisions. Sorry, armies, corps, divisions. What else do we have here? Air units. And then over here we have all the surface fleets, principally carrier groups, and battleships, various forces. We have the very solid mounted map, which I'll get open in a sec, and 2 very sturdy, hefty decks of cards. Looks like the Allied deck and the Japanese deck. Now the thing that, the reason and of course you've got 2 dice and some bags. The reason I struggled with this back in 2008, 2009 was I was playing a lot of card-driven games at the time, and I've mentioned many times how my favourite game is Paths of Glory. That was in the era when I was playing a lot of Paths of Glory. We've got a lot of point-to-point movement. Now, Empire of the Sun really threw me by its very open nature. I was looking at this map, which back then was a paper map, and I was just thinking, my goodness, what do I do with these fleets who can move over these vast oceans? And I just really didn't know where to start. I had nobody to teach me, nobody to guide me through. 14 years later, there are many, many more resources available in this game online. Mark Herman himself has run through some opening moves on YouTube. There are various guides, playthroughs, so it's we're in a bit of state now where I'm hoping it's a much easier game to learn. You'll notice, in contrast to many other card-driven games, it is not point-to-point movement, it is hex-based. You've, of course, got land territories and sort of ocean movement, various ports, airfields, the oil markers, various terrain throughout the map, various charts running around the game record track. Out on the left, political will, the war in Europe track, summary of replacements, terrain effects up there. Up the top of the map, Japanese divisions available in China, Chinese government front status, the Burma Road status, India status. It's a very nice textured map as well. In addition to being mounted, it's got a nice tactile feel to it. Summary of movement chart down the bottom, and delayed reinforcements down the bottom right. Up in the top right, we have the air, naval combat results table, ground combat results table. So a lot of information on the map, in addition to being on those charts. So there you have a very, very nice map. Air units in China box as well. The map key summarised here. Yeah. So folks, I'll be diving into this as soon as possible. When I say diving in, it's another bit of a learning curve, trying to relearn it and wrap my head around it. So stay tuned. I'll hopefully have some videos coming up on this in the coming weeks. It is, again, a classic. Over the past 14 years, since I sort of traded my copy away back in 2009, I keep hearing people praise this game and its design. It is among many people's top games, so I'm keen to get back in and appreciate what this has to offer. Thanks everyone, and take care.